What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Make Every Second Count Live. Now, I'm your host and international award winning Make Every Second Count speaker, Jeff Marconette Jr. And this is my show where we try to help you through what you were dealing with in life. I bring on different guests every week, and we try to go over tips, strategies, and tools that they have used in order to overcome something in their life so you can do the same. I ask you if you would please share this episode out, invite all kinds of people to watch it, tag some people in the comments, keep those comments coming, and don't forget to give this video some likes. Help us trick the algorithm on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. But with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Chad. Hey, Chad, how are you this evening?
I am wonderful, my friend. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you on here. But if you would like to go through a short introduction, tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what you do, and more importantly, why you do what you do, and then we will hop into the show.
Yeah, man. So my name is Chad Osinga. I'm from Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I am a mindset coach. I consider myself more on the resilient side of the mindset piece, and I do it because I realize that people need others that have been down the path that they are on, right? And so I wanted to be that light for other people because I've traveled down some rough roads.
That is, well, it's not a good thing that you have traveled down some rough roads, but it is awesome that you are trying to help other people that might be down the same road. You're going down the same road you went down at one time. I find that very respectable. So my background is when I was 17, I was in a car wreck. I spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital. They told me I'd probably never walk again. And as you can imagine, hearing that as a 17-year-old is kind of a big thing in your life. So, but I had something in me that helped me overcome, something that showed me that I can do it just because somebody else told me that I wasn't going to. That wasn't going to become my reality. So I proved everybody wrong, and I want to help other people do that now. So this is the obstacles that I have faced. What obstacles have you faced on your journey to a resilience coach?
Well, it started when I was born. I was born with Erb's palsy, and I couldn't move the left side of my body. And they also said I had a learning disability from a young age. And so I was thrown into a classroom. And, when I'm 40, so when I was younger, they didn't have like the specialized stuff they do now. So they just throw you in a room, you get picked on all day by everyone who is quote unquote normal. And no one really teaches you how to deal with your issues, right? And on top of that, my mom was a drug addict and she was addicted to cocaine and crack. That got really bad as I got older. And at 14 years old, our home got raided by federal and state law enforcement. I got sent to Oklahoma with some family, and she got sent to federal prison. When I was in Oklahoma, it was supposed to be a refuge for me, but they didn't do that to me. They actually abused me physically and mentally. I ended up running away after about a year and a half of being there. So I ran away from Oklahoma all the way back to Virginia, where I live. And when I got back, the damage was kind of already done. The state awarded custody to my family in Virginia, but mentally I was already just angry at the world. I didn't care. And then I started making some really bad decisions, started running with really bad crowds, drinking, doing the whole 9 yards. And I was going nowhere really fast. My mom got released from prison and then OD'd and passed away.
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
It sucks, but all of this kind of made me who I am today. So, for a long time I was mad at her, man. I was like so angry at just how my life developed. I just met my dad at 40 years old, and I thank God that I was able to meet him, but for a long time I was mad at him too, because I was like, where are you?
Did he know you even existed though?
He knew I existed, but my mom kept me away from him. And so there was like a whole story. Like he had looked for me and she had moved and wouldn't give him, the location that she kept moving to. So, a lot of it wasn't on him. And then when he had the courage to finally reach out, there was a lot of space between us, years and years. And so I think that played a part into the awkwardness of us finally meeting each other. And if it wasn't for my wife, we probably wouldn't. So, and she really is the reason that changed my life. So I met her, and, I was in high school when I met her, and she believed in me, right? Like I had never had anybody believe in me. Like she saw
It,
something special, man.
it is so funny that sometimes you can use other people's belief in you until your belief kicks in. But eh, I love people that see the best in people and they believe in everybody. It burns me on occasion because I'm like that. But I don't know if I should be like that at all times.
Yeah,
And it burns me on occasion.
me too. Me too. Because despite being through a lot of hard stuff, I always have a good peace inside of me for some reason. But I think that's also what led me to where I'm at today, was having that good thing on the inside of me. But make a long story short, I ended up joining the military because me and her ended
Thank
up
you
getting,
for service.
yes. I I was still mentally, I thought I was doing better because I was committed to her and I was working at this factory. And for us, working at a factory was, hey, it was good stuff, right? Coming from where I came from. But I was living in low income housing. I had two kids, and my kids were going to grow up just like I did if I didn't do something different, right? And but I had dropped out of high school. I didn't have anything to leverage, so I just joined the military, and I joined the army, and it was the best decision I had ever made. It wasn't the easiest in the beginning because I didn't have structure, right? So this
Yeah.
hard-headed kid that didn't believe in himself, now I'm thrown in this situation where people are yelling at you, and so. But I ended up becoming a sniper in the military, and then I at the towards the end I was able to be a combat applications instructor. And then I was injured in Iraq. I had all these surgeries. And right before I got out, my daughter had a stroke. We were 5 years old. We were in Germany at the time, and she had this life altering stroke. At the same time, my wife gives birth to our third child. So I have my wife in one room giving birth and my daughter fighting for her life in
Wow.
another room.
That's
And
crazy.
yeah, and then we ended up getting separated. She couldn't fly out of Germany, so she had to stay. I had to go and with my daughter to Walter Reed when it was in DC. And so it was just this long process. We ended up having another child after that, and then my two youngest ended up becoming diagnosed with autism. So now I had three special
So
kids.
can I ask how long were you separated from your wife?
It was about 5 months or so.
5 months?
Yeah, my
That's nuts.
yeah, because my daughter had to go on chemo. It was a rare disease that caused the stroke,
Yeah.
and you know, they didn't. They had her in this like special ward from like 3 or 4 months, and then she went to a live-in rehabilitation center,
Yeah.
and so she was there for about a month and a half, 2 months, somewhere around. So it might have been closer to 6 months, but we were there for a while. But uh, she ended up getting papers and for our third child, and being able to get here. And then that was a whole new struggle because we didn't have anywhere to live. So we had to, find somewhere to live. It was just we were in Ronald McDonald houses for a long time. A long time.
Wow, man, you have really lived through some hard times there. But I want to say that I'm proud of you for getting out of that. And I know if you can do it and if I can do it, guess what? Anybody can do the same things we did. And that's what we try to do, right? We try to help people get out of what they're dealing with and use their mind to their benefit, not to take away from their life.
That's it.
So how exactly were you able to get past this? I mean, all right, time out. First of all, what emotions went through your body and your mind as your wife was going through this and as your daughter was going through this and you were away from your support system and your wife? How would you do that? What did it make you feel?
I don't, I think you get past feelings at that point. I was so tired because you didn't get a lot of sleep. Doctors are in and out of the rooms just constantly. And, you just go on autopilot and I told my daughter this. I said, look, because they told her that she would never walk, talk, or eat ever again. And she does all of that right now. And I told her, I said, listen, I can't promise you anything, right? But I can promise you we're going to fight. And so I started working with her every single day in the hospital room. And like I told you, we were contained, right? And I would walk her up and down the room. Like I would move her legs like we were walking, even though she couldn't. Little did I know it was training her brain to do it,
Yeah.
And I kept, every time they would tell her that she couldn't, I said, no, you will. No, you will. And it ended up clicking. And I think she took her first steps at the 4-month mark by herself. So it was a real exciting moment. And, she's my inspiration because I ended up, with your wreck, I ended up getting in 2 really bad wrecks on my motorcycle. I got hit, T-boned at 45 miles an hour. And then at 65 miles an hour on Interstate I-95, and I flatlined twice.
Wow.
And they told me I wouldn't walk for 18 months, and I did it in 5. So I definitely can relate to a lot of that pain. But if it wasn't for some of the stuff I had gone through earlier in my life, I probably wouldn't have been able to face that like I did. So I think that you just have to be determined and say that you're creating what you want. You can accept what everyone's saying, and then you get exactly what they're saying. So if that's what you want, go for it, right? But if that's not what you want, then you have to say, no, I'm not accepting this, or at least I'm not going down without a fight.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like I have this quote that I like a lot. It's no matter who tells you you can or can't do something that you or no, wait, time out. Sorry, I just messed it up badly here. I feel bad. So my thing is people are going to give you permission to quit.
Yep.
But you do not have to accept that permission. Look, the only person that can stop you from doing what you want to do is honestly you.
Amen.
And you're the only person that can honestly hold you back. Your thoughts, your energy is what is dampening your progress in life. And if you believe in yourself enough, you can do whatever you want. It's going to be hard. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's possible.
Well, choose your hard, right? Life is hard, period. Being broke is hard, right?
Yeah.
Being whatever situation you're in that you don't like, that's hard too, right? So not doing something is going to produce some hard stuff in your life as well. So you might as well do the hard that's going to give you what you want.
Yeah. I have this friend, Tracy Ward, that her son was born with a severe mental illness, and the doctors told her the same thing as they told us, that he would never walk, he would never live a good life. They wanted her to get an abortion,
Yeah.
but she said no.
Yeah.
She just took this on. They told her it's going to be so hard. And you know what she said? I can do hard.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that you are showing people, and I am showing people. And there's so many other people out there that are showing everyone that we as people can do hard. And we're also telling you, if we can do it, so can you.
Yeah. It's a decision, right?
Yeah.
You got to make a committed decision. And to your point, right? Like, there's going to be things that tell you to quit, comfort, your friends, family, all, but you have to make your own decisions, right? And you have to decide this is what you want, that you can do it, and that you will do it. I love what Eric Thomas says: I can, I will, I must. And
I will and must.
And you just stay with that every single day, and you remind yourself of the goal multiple times a day if you have to, right? Every time doubt creeps in your mind, every time someone says you, oh, just quit, it ain't worth it, you get that goal or that thing that you're fighting for, and you repeat it to yourself. No, this is what I'm after, this is what I'm going for. So yeah, man, you can't quit.
That is great. So I actually have 5 points that I like to go through. Now, I don't necessarily do this on the show, but I'm going to tonight.
All right.
So, my first one is before my accident, and you can probably relate to a lot of these. I had abilities that I took for granted.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not talking abilities like us sitting here talking. I'm talking abilities to sit up straight. I'm talking abilities to actually say words.
Yeah.
And I lost all that. It all went away in the matter of a blink of an eye. The second one is I always wanted all kinds of things, but I wasn't happy with what I already had. So my thing is people need to be happy with what they have now and think about it. I mean, like, seriously, you're rich, Chad. I'm
Yes.
rich.
Yes.
Everybody that is alive is rich.
Yes. Yes.
You might not have money. You might be broke. That's fine and dandy. But you have other things in your life that you are rich for. And you need to look at that.
Well, yeah.
And then the third one is life is a gift, and it should never be taken for granted because it can be taken away in the blink of an eye. And Chad has shown us that he's had 2 motorcycle accidents, one of them on the interstate, and then his daughter and his wife have gone through some things that nobody ever wishes on anybody. You know, my fourth one is never, ever, ever give up on yourself. What would have happened if you had given up after they told you you wouldn't walk for 18 months?
Probably wouldn't walk, period.
Probably wouldn't walk, period. So, like, all right, let's think about this. All right, what about once you took your first step and you were a success because you were walking? What if you had given up at that time?
Oh man. I mean, it gave me so much confidence to take the next step, and
Take the next step.
and it really it made me believe more, right? And so I everything that I was it made me realize that everything I was doing up until that point was worth it, right? And then it gives you the strength to take that next step. So and you just keep making steps after that. It's one step at a time.
Yeah, that is so phenomenal. That is just amazing. So, my next one is I learned that I could make every second count. And if I can, guess what? You can. Each and every one of you. Now, I say make every second count. There are 86,400 seconds in a day. I realize that's a lot of seconds. But if you go by these four principles, the four right before it, it's quite easy to make every second count. But it is going to take work. So I have also written a journal that is called Make Every Second Count, a 1,500-hour journal. And this journal will actually teach you how to make every second count. And I'll tell you one cool thing about this journal. You can actually go to my website, which I'm putting up here on the screen right now. Go to jeffmarkinetjr.com/journal, and you can download the first week of that journal for free. So go check that out, guys. Now, do you have any tips for other people that are dealing with something? I mean, it may be different, it may be the same as what we went through, but do you have any tips to help them out?
Yeah, I have two big things that I would tell you. One, everything that you need is already within you, right? Everything. The more the more we look outside of us, the more lost we become. The second thing is the law of focus, right? Whatever we focus on will expand, right? And so if you're focused on your problem, then that problem is going to become bigger in your life, whatever it is, whether it's walking like us, whether it's a marriage issue, whether it's a money issue. It doesn't matter what the issue is or what you're fighting against, right? However, if you focus on the opposite, right, of that, maybe the solution to finding that, or happiness, joy, peace, love, then that's what's going to expand in your life and be created more so in your days. So I would take those two things and run with it.
Now, I heard a quote on something that they said the mind is like a garden. When you water the flowers, you're also watering the weeds. So, what would you tell people that they feel like they're watering the weeds at the same time as watering the flowers? And by weeds, I mean negative thoughts, and flowers, I mean positive thoughts.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things you can do. Like the journal he just did. What changed my life is I started journaling, I started meditating, and I started looking myself in the mirror and telling myself what I was going to be, right? Not, we are what we believe, right? And so if I believe that I'm not good enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, then we're always going to be watering the weeds, right? We have to change our paradigm or our thought process, right? And that goes with repetition, right? Of positivity, read positive stuff. Saturate yourself with good, positive things. And the other thing is the people you're around. If you're around negative people, if you're around people that are always telling you that you can't, or it's not, just to quit or whatever, you're the average of the 5 people you hang with. So, just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, that is so true. I've noticed something. I've been doing this show for over 5 years now.
Wow.
And most everybody that comes on here, they will tell you of the support system they had. They will tell you about the people that actually lift them up and help them succeed in life. And I like the fact that you talked about your wife and how your wife changed your whole life, and she believed in you when nobody else would. I find that to be amazing. But I do have to ask, do you have anybody else in your life that helps you, lifts you up?
Yeah, so what I did was I called a family of choice, right? And I put myself around people that were going in the same direction I was when I began to change. Because here's the thing. Yes, I love my family. Yes, I love some of my friends that I grew up with and I've spent a lot of time with. But if they're not willing to leave where they are and they're not going in the direction I'm going, it it can work against me, right? So I want to be around people that are like-minded and will lift me up towards where I'm going. Okay. And so I began to put myself in rooms. I began to network. I began to, join different mastermind groups. And that's how I started meeting the people that I put in my what I call a family of choice. And so that's what I did. And my wife, she just kind of rose up with me, right? And it helps because we're like a mini mastermind everywhere we go. So it works.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
They say a rising tide raises all boats.
that's it.
And it's like when I'm on the top of that mountain, when I finally reach that top of that mountain, I want other people to be with me. People that I helped get there. And that would be amazing.
Yes. Yes.
So, do you have any contact information you would like to give out to people?
Yeah. So my website is mrtenacity.com, MRTENS, or I mean, sorry, not SCITY.com. You can also reach me at mrtenacity40 at gmail if you want to send me an email. It's Chad Osinga on Facebook. And yeah, I think that's really it. Mr. Tenacity on all the social media stuff. But go to my website and everything's on there, including my podcast, The Legend of You. So, go check that out if you need some content.
Oh, you have a podcast.
Yeah, it's called The Legend of You. I would love to have you on. But yeah,
Well, first of all, you have to tell us how we can listen to that podcast.
well, it's on Apple. It's on really every major platform, right? Just type in The Legend of You, and you can also go to my website and you can play it from right there.
The
So
Legend of You.
Legend of You. Yeah.
That sounds great. I'm gonna have to check that out. In fact, I have one of them pulled up on Facebook right now.
Boom.
I'm getting ready to listen to it. So I'm really excited about that because I think you have a great story and you are doing a lot of the things I try to do. So I thank you so much. I appreciate your time this evening.
No, man, I thank you. The pleasure was mine, my friend.
All right. Well, hey, you and everybody else out there has to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. You have to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when the seconds are going to run out on your one life. I'll see you guys back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. But until then, don't forget, make every second count. Thank you again, Chad.
Thank you.